All right, all right, all right. How are y'all doing today? How are we doing today? We're going to start the show at exactly 9:30, but I like to be how are we doing today? I like to be on time. Um and a part of being on time is not actually being on time because if you're on time, you're late. But I like to be early. So if I'm early, I'm on time, right? So I'm already here. But we're gonna give it 3 more minutes, let people fill in, fill in those seats in the back. Uh, you know, I decided to do that. I'm gonna do my 1/3 show 3 times in a month, once every week, and then once, um, you know, once in a month, 1 week out of the month, I'm just going to do a session. You know what I'm saying? With the lovely people down here in the audience, we chop it up to the Great Regime fam, to our affiliates, to people that are a part of the Great Regime, and to the people that we support that are not a part of some particular group, and they're just doing their own thing. They can come up and have, we can have just a talking session, and we can just chop it up and just relax. No pressure about anything or nothing of that kind. If you want the link to the panel, um, it's still up to my discretion because I don't negotiate with terrorists. So you know how that works. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I like to give a couple of shout outs to the people that's in the chat right now. Verbal Assassin, you were first today. So you were first. So the Verbal Assassin, how are you doing? I hope all is well with you. All is well with me. On this lovely Wednesday at 9:28 in the morning, Japan Standard Time. It should be 8:28 Eastern Standard Time, and it should be 7:28 Central Standard Time, 6:28 Central Mountain Standard Time, and it should be 5:28 Pacific Standard Time. If I got that correct, please, everybody. What's good with you, my dog? Your hiatus black, my dude. Yo, I gotta get you this, my dude. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad you finally made it. You've been busy. So I'm gonna send it to you. Check your back cave. Hold on, I'm gonna check it. So me and my man CJ, just to give y'all just some some backstory about this, is the reason why I call this the session is because me and him would have these chop up sessions all the time. We would just talk about crazy stuff, jump down the rabbit hole. It was about 4, 5, 6 years ago. We would be in our conscious minds, you know what I mean? And then we got out of that. We reached a couple of things of a sainthood and stuff like that. So my man, he's still himself. We still have those conversations, but we know how to have those conversations and who to have those conversations with. We don't have them just randomly with just regular people, or just anybody, right? And my man, he has a channel. You know what I'm saying? Hiatus Black. He has a channel. Check out his channel. Also, you know, he does downhill longboarding, you know, 40, 50 miles an hour on a skateboard, and he does other things. So, you know, and he's, you know, and he works in the community and helps out and does a lot of stuff. So this is my dude. I know him in real life. We did some dastardly stuff that we're not going to talk about. But we've done that. And we done had some good times. We done had some good times, you know what I'm saying? That's my dude, CJ, my brother right there. You know what I'm saying? He knows my kids. He done slept on my couch. We done knocked out some racist Marines together, you know what I'm saying? Call him Thundercat, you know what I'm saying, with them hands. You know what I mean? We done had some fun, you know what I'm saying? So that's my dude. I hope you come up here, say a few words, impart us, you know, welcome to the family. Going down the list here, right? Going down the list, we have our lovely sister Vonda, always lovely and charming, Vonda. And then we have the female Quincy Jones of Black YouTube, JustaskChar. That's going to be her title from now on. The First Lady does not do her justice. This is the female Black Quincy Jones. Well, this is the Quincy Jones is black sometimes, but this is the female Quincy Jones of Black YouTube. JustaskChar. She has an advice channel. They will be kicking it on Fridays. I love the article reactions, but tomorrow on DJMuziq's channel, our Supreme Elder, and then he's probably going to be stopping in just shortly. Um, uh, they have, you know, just keep the beat with Classic Ruby, and on GSRN network. If she dropped those links post haste because she has the problem with promoting herself. She'll promote everybody in the world, but she just want to be in the background. But it's too late for that because greatness cannot be hidden forever. Right. All right. So uh now we have Oni. She's here. How are you doing? Sapase, my Haitian sister. How are you doing? Glad to always have you and always have you here. The lovely Callie Jane is here also as well. So I was running my mouth. We already started the stream. See, this is why you start early, right? You know what I'm saying? So you can't be late. See how that goes? All right. Now let's get into the content at hand. At hand, right? All right. So as we get into the content at hand, hey Japan, how are you doing? How is going on? How are you? How are you doing? So we about to get into the content at hand. I'm about to run down some things that has happened over the past couple of months. If anybody would like to join the panel, you can do it post haste. Um, the link is in the appropriate places. If you're not a part of the Grey Regime Network or something like that, or whatever, you know, we'll figure it out. Hit Char up. Char, he sends you the link post haste, and so have you. Um, so we'll get it to you. This is just an open panel. We're not going to keep it too long, but I'm going to go down a couple of things right here, right? The first thing that we're going to talk about, you know, straight up that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about Mr. Yeah, I know, Kanye West. Mr. Kanye West. Okay. We're going to talk about him. We're going to have a conversation about him. Then I'm going to bring up his comments. I'm not going to play the audio. But if you want to hear an in-depth discussion on that. Oh, RVSOP, what's going on? What's cracking lacking with you? We're going to and our esteemed brother in Cerulean Grey. Cerulean, you already know where it's at. The link to the panel. What we're going to talk about is I'm going to talk about Kanye West and how he said Harriet Tubman was a thief and some other things. Your CJ, what's going on with you, baby?
Oh, I messed up the show, did I?
No, man, you came in the right time, my nigga. What's going on with you down there? Yeah. What's going on with you, my nigga? Yeah.
What up, dog?
What's
In here watching
cracking,
One
man?
Piece.
You
In here
watching
watching
One
One
Piece?
Piece.
Oh, you getting the Luffy in, my nigga? What's going on with you? Yeah. Look like everybody looking
Can
at me
everybody
crazy.
see me?
Yeah, we can see you, man.
Oh, hello, everybody.
Yo, what's that? Yo, what's going on with you, my nigga?
You know, same thing. Hey, this is what I'm doing right here.
What's up? What you got? What you got?
I got finished setting up my.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Got the new Ferrari kicking it.
Yeah, dog.
You know what I'm saying? 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour downhill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yo, man. So, I was about to talk about. Did you hear about the comments of his royal coolness, Mr. Kanye West?
No, catch me in, man. You know I've been on the run.
Okay, so Mr. Kanye West, he had some comments, man, that he was talking about that basically he said Harriet Tubman, she was a thief. She did not free the slaves. And she basically took and when the black people weren't free, they just went to go work.
My back.
Yeah, you back. You here.
Right.
So he said that the black people that she supposedly freed just went to go work for white folk. So she didn't free any slaves. And she stole, like she stole from people. I'm like, when you actually think about what he said, right? He is telling the truth, right? He's telling the truth because slavery was legal and slaves were considered property, and he stole someone's property. And the black people that escaped to the north, they didn't have any true freedom because they didn't get no property of their own. They didn't have anything of their own. They actually had to work for the white abolitionists.
You went from picking cotton to virtual slavery, which is, you know what I'm saying, picking a dollar.
Yeah, and well, you weren't even getting paid. You weren't getting beaten every day, but you was someone's pet, basically. Because if you were walking around and you didn't have papers, the slave catchers would take you back. Or the municipal, like the sheriffs or the AKA the police now, they would snatch you back. So what he said was actually truth, but you don't need to be talking right now, bro. Like
yeah, so
what you think about that?
All right. Just in general, like what was like the motive behind it? What was the lead up? What was the segue? What was the context of, like, before that came out of his mouth for him to say what he said?
Nah, it was nothing. Like they no one asked him. It just he was at a presidential rally for himself. Because he was talking about running for president, then he found out he couldn't do it because he waited too late. And then he just came out of his mouth. Like no one asked him. Like it was like one of the things when you smoke, you're doing your thing, and then next thing you know, you say something around some people, but that know what you talking about, but then we say, nigga, you stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's just trying to trigger like a rekindling of the subject to look at it in a different way. I don't know, bro. I'm just not built like that. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's dumbfounding that, like, if we're reading the same books to get even the information that you have on Harriet Tubman, how did you get that out of it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm like, if you know what, because when I first heard it, because so we're thinking about it in a sense, right? I'm thinking about it just like you're thinking about it, and everybody with common sense is thinking about it, right? Right. But now let's go and put on our pragmatist hats on. Let's just Right, because we pragmatic, we understand how the world works, right?
Right.
Was slaves property?
Yes.
Was slavery legal?
Yes.
If someone, unfortunately, if someone came into your home and took your property, then they did what?
They stole.
Okay. And if they took that property and gave it to someone else, then that is considered grand larceny, right?
You know what's crazy about that? We're going to talk about the system, or we're going to talk about the institution, because, like,
there you go.
It's hard to be honest. It's hard to be honest when the foundation is dealt off that. You can't call the kettle black. Why are we calling the kettle black? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly, right? So now we go to another point of this, right? That makes Harriet Tubman's accomplishment all the far greater.
Right.
Because that also brings into play that marching and kumbayaing doesn't get you the results needed.
But let's go ahead and, if we're gonna be 100 with it, this is gonna be 100 with it, right?
Right. Let's go with it.
You all right, we know each other. So you know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk it like this.
Yeah.
So my thing is like this. Like, there's no way Harriet Tubman just walked up in there and wasn't looking for soldiers at first. Like, even now, it's I get what Kanye's saying, dog, but in real life, you know how this would never get off the ground?
Yeah.
We don't own too many gun shops.
There you
go. A black person can buy new bullets, but a black person doesn't averagely know how to reload a bullet with the grains, with the powder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows about tactical formation. Nobody knows, you know what I'm saying, what plants to eat if it really came down to it. Nobody knows how to germinate a seed. So it sounds good to talk all high and mighty that Harriet Tubman didn't do A, B, and C, but you breathing just like she was, bro. And that's somebody take you're in a better position to do some damage like you really want to. So what you talking about?
There you go, right? So here's another one, right? The way I look at it is Harriet Tubman was a badass because that's what a revolutionary does, right? They revolt. Right. So wasn't this country built on a revolutionary status, a republic? A republic is nothing but a revolutionary, a group of revolutionaries coming together in a unit to create a nation, right? So the republic, the republic of which it stands, right? Yeah. Right. So I mean, so the Pledge of Allegiance, right? You got to pledge allegiance to the flag on the republic of which it stand, one nation under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all, nigga. Not just white people, not just Asians, not just for Latinos, but for niggas too. Can we get that? Can we get a little bit of that? You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all don't remember the Pledge of Allegiance, but I'm old enough. We had to do that in school.
But you know what? For me too. But you know what? For me too. At the same time, I treat Kanye like that cat that always got a piece of information, but they'll never got the receipts to back it up.
You
know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you telling me how to motherfucking make it, but I had to give you $50 for rent last month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we? And my thing is like this. Even with like certain things going on in the climate we have going on today, dog, and I can talk about a lot, and we talk about a lot, we still research a lot, but if I ain't about to put my feet in them shoes, dog, I ain't about to open my mouth if I ain't 10 toes down. So don't get people riled up and want this attention factor because ain't he dropping an album or some shit? I don't know, a single or something.
He dropped some. He dropped some album. He dropped some albums. He dropped some albums and stuff like that. And he, you know what I'm saying? He dropped some albums or something like that. And he did something, I think he dropped a song or something. And he dropped something else.
You know what this feel like, Dre?
What's up? He did a collaboration with some Jordans or something like that. He did some collab. what I'm starting to see, right? So when he was going for his president, when he was running for president, and a lot of people called him out about running a diversion tactic to split the vote and all this other stuff, right? I know, like, if you was going to run a diversion tactic, it'd have been better off running it with someone else, right? Like if Jay-Z would have said he was running for president, that'd have been like, okay. That would kind of split up the vote more. Or shit, Beyonce would have said she was running for president. That'd have split the vote a whole bunch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they had the whole beehive up there, right? That'd have took like most of the votes and split it and whatever, right? And really and truly, man, I don't care who the goddamn president of the United States is. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, right? It doesn't.
Right.
Like, it doesn't really matter. I don't even really care about, I care about people in Congress and I care about people at the state level. If you want to be 100 in the buck with it. Right.
You get into the branches now: judicial, legislative, executive, and all that shit.
Yeah. So, hold on, give me 1 second. I gotta give a shout out. Greetings to the Supreme Elder, Music, and greetings to our esteemed brother in Cerulean. Y'all are in here, and so forth and so have you. Anyway, let's continue. The appropriate links are in the back cave. In the back cave. Mm-hmm. So go ahead. My bad, bro. Mm-hmm. No. You good. So what I think it is, man, is just like that August, the August dude, right?
Oh yeah, he's an interesting character.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
many codes are broken. So many
bro, side dude code, right? Since we just up here, we talking, right?
Hey, I got time.
We got time, man. You know what? We got time, man. We got time. Char gonna be mad at me because we got the 90-minute rule, you know what I'm saying? But today is the session. We get to sit back, talk, you know, miss once a month. We get to kick back, you know, grab your tea, y'all. If y'all want to say something in the chat or whatever, you know, grab your tea, y'all. It's about to get good. It's about to be popping.
It's about to get good.
Yeah, man, y'all are actually about to see how me and my man actually talk. Like people in the back cave know how I get down, right? We about to get real. You know what? We about to get petty. All right, so check this out, right? We got to get real petty, right? So as a one half of the professional side dude coalition, coalition, you know what I'm saying, back in the day, you know, in the slaughterhouse and there shall after, what codes do you do? The places that shall not be named that has been desecrated by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So let me bring in my honorable Cerulean. Yo, you know my dude Cerulean here was on the Blue Ridge over here. He was in Yokosuka at one time.
He wasn't over there when I was over there, huh?
No, man, he was before me, man. He was the predecessor. You know what I'm saying? He handed off the sticks.
What's up, good brother?
Hey, greetings, esteemed brethren.
Greetings.
You're your Yokosuka brother too. Okay, all right.
Yeah. I did. I had my little era. I had my little run.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like to say this, Cerulean. For everybody that's watching, this is my friend in real life. So I do have real life friends that I can contact, and I'm not riding around Walmart parking lots. All right. So anyway, so greetings, esteemed brother Cerulean. We're just talking about Saidu etiquette and how this young brother broke the etiquette because he just dropped a song about the whole entanglement thing. Like,
did you hear it, bro? Did you hear it?
Man, I heard that foolishness, bro.
Hold on, bro.
Who did this?
The August.
Rick Ross.
Yeah, with Rick Ross.
Yeah.
The August dude, when after he said what he said, then they did the Red Table Talk. Then he went and dropped a song about the entanglement with Rick Ross, but it was already pre-recorded.
Right. So check this out, Dre. Are we gonna name the infractions?
Yeah, I would like to hear everybody's infractions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, violation of. I mean that's secure information, right?
Yes.
Violation. I mean, you have sedition, right? Not even sedition against the other party, but just sedition of if he was going to be a side dude. Side dude etiquette requires the utmost secrecy, for one,
Right.
discretion,
Right.
right? Hey, oh,
And my thing is like this at this point, right? You know, he's
yeah.
still carrying this like a whole situation. And it's kind of like when did the rules get blurred? Like if you decide, dude, like for you speaking, what else are you trying to gain from the situation? Look like you were sitting pretty to me already.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, when you really think about it, before this, what have you really heard from August Alsina?
Man.
Right.
You know, and I know what this is. It's the way that those music execs, you know, really get down, right? Like, you know, this is a guy that's trying to be back in the spotlight, and you know, he's got publicists around him. He's got his manager. You know, he's got your music execs that he's sitting in boardrooms with, and you know, they pitch him an idea like, "Hey, you know, Og, I was thinking."
Right.
Like, you know, there is one surefire way to get you back in the spotlight, but you know, this is going to require some sacrifices.
That's the conversation. It's always the conversation.
It's like, now I'm not gonna, you know, tell you what you should do, because you know I kind of want you to be your own man. But you know, you got this thing going on with Jada Pinkett Smith, and I think that's real hot and steamy. But you know, I can't really speak on it in public, you know, because you know that's between you and her. But I'll tell you this: it makes for good. It makes for good album sales. I'll just tell you that. But I'm not going to tell you what to do, though. I want you to be your own man with this.
Yeah. See you out there. And the thing is they knew. I'm like, because he didn't tell them, because they was well prepared. Like this thing to me, right, seemed like it was a deal struck. Because they still called him Og, right? Listen, man, man. I'm not calling you Og, nigga.
You know what though? I would say this off a principle level, man. I gotta give it to Will Smith, man. Because you know why? From just how I've been following it, right? If I'm incorrect at any point of the story leading up to the conclusion I'm about to prepare for you, let me know. So, all right, dude was sick at one point initially, right? They take him into his home, right?
He wasn't that sick. I mean, dude wasn't really sick. He had the same thing that Jada Pinkett Smith had. He was a nympho. He was a sex addict.
Okay, there you go.
He had the same shit that Jada Pinkett Smith had.
Yeah, nah. So yeah, with that being all considered, so he's in the house at this point, right? For however long. So this is, as a man, it gets to a principle. It's no way, man, that you did what you did with my wife. Then you go and express yourself publicly about it. I don't know, man. It's just,
Second of all, when he came to us, he was sick. They try to make it seem like the nigga had like you know, heart disease or COVID-19.
Well, they like the nigga had leukemia or something, man. Like, right. I think he had an autoimmune. Yeah, he had like I think he had some like blood or autoimmune disease or something. And you know sickle cell. Yeah, and you know what else is an autoimmune disease? You know what I'm saying? Like having like, you know, being anemic, man, and that comes from low iron, you know, in your system. That comes from malnutrition, not eating properly. You know what I'm saying?
And now that I'm thinking about it, what could Jada Pinkett do that the doctors couldn't?
Give him that pussy. Ain't no woman gonna be fucking no sickly ass dude, man. Let's stop playing, man. Look, man, dude was young. You know what I mean? He was 20-some years of age. She basically, man, You know what? It was American Pie, and Jada Pinkett was Stifler's mom, and that nigga was Finch.
Well said.
You know what I'm saying?
Well said.
Oh, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I ain't seen your view in a minute. How you been? Everything good with you? Man, this lady right here, man, she like one of them aunties, right? So she had me down, man, on one of her live streams, right? She was drinking Coke 45 out of a teacup. Had me dead,
I like my curses in cursive.
Yeah, man. I'm talking about. She like one of them aunties for real. You know what I'm saying? For real. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm like, dude, Oni, he had a drug problem. They all got a drug problem. Like, they all got a drug problem. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, shit, to be in Hollywood, I mean, if you could get through Hollywood without having like a coke issue, I mean, you're the best of the best right there.
Man.
All right.
Hey, Supreme Elder, greetings.
Good evening, good folks. Good evening.
Oh, so salute, simplify, do or die.
Yeah, greetings, Supreme Elder. The first one to break the news of this of the whole Kanye thing was the Supreme Elder here. It came out first, and I was like, "Oh, okay, Supreme Elder got it, bam, bam, bam," and I watched it and whatever. And then I look at the news the next day, and of course, they got like high definition 4K cameras on them, but he broke the news first.
Yeah, that was hot off the presses over there.
Hot off the presses.
Hot off the presses.
Hot off the presses.
I may be a little unpopular with this, but he was kind of right.
Yeah, Cerulean. It's I can understand why a lot of people would say that hindsight being 2020, but it's not so much that he was right, but it was the way that he was presenting it. And I think that's what was taking everybody aback.
Yeah,
a little bit.
He was doing it was doing it in like a anti-black, culturally degradative way.
Exactly. I mean, he tried to sugarcoat it, but it didn't work that well. Yeah, a thinking person would have thought just like we would. Okay, well, let's think about this for a minute. He wasn't really wrong, but he was wrong for the way he said it. That's just bottom line to it. He needed to be drawn and quartered.
Yeah, because we've always had this culture. If you grew up, in a certain household, like most of us, I'm sure we did, that you just don't say certain shit in mixed company.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Like, you just don't say certain shit. Like, even if it's true, you just don't say shit in mixed company.
Exactly. That just gave just think about how many retweets that's gonna get over in the racist white community. And see, they even talking about it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
we're not that racist. Even Kanye said that that we employed black people.
Exactly.
Right. Shit gets flipped around. Like, the next thing you know,
we told you.
Well, slavery wasn't about racism. It was really about economy, and it's just like,
yeah.
Let me ask a question to everybody here, right? I think what Kanye wanted when he did that, he wanted that Goya Foods push. You know what I'm saying? He wanted, old Trump to sit up there with them Jordans, with that thing and smile in front of the camera in the White House. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? If you go coon, you got to go all the way hard, right?
Well, it's the same way with like a lot of the entertainers when they get to a certain level. The same deal is made with all of them, right? Like, you look at Bill Cosby, right? Bill Cosby, when made the pound cake speech, like, you making a pound cake speech at a HBCU talking about walking around here with your pants down, and like, anybody want to see that? Like, hold up, these are all HBCU motherfuckers. They're not walking around campus with the pants hanging off their ass. It's just not happening. Like HBCUs, you see dudes walking around in cardigans and shit. Yeah. And suits and ties. Yeah. Knickerbockers.
You're
not seeing them walking around sagging their pants, You're not going to see a lot of hip hop clothes at an HBCU,
Nah.
right? Hey, so you're making the speech to the wrong people. These are supposed to be the future of black leaders. Hey, you're sitting there making a pound cake speech on them, like literally shitting on their self esteem.
Exactly. Exactly. Like no.
And what that does is that alienates him from the rest of black society, to where now that the whole Me Too thing happened to him, nobody feels sorry for him. Nobody
Right.
has any empathy or sympathy for him.
Nah,
Right,
I don't care.
you're absolutely right, Cerulean. That's when he started, as you say, doing the pound cake speeches. That's when Bill Cosby became irrelevant.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
when yeah.
because you look at it, they did the same thing to Jackie Robinson. Now, Jackie Robinson, uh, I don't care what anybody says, is actually one of my heroes, and not because he played baseball, but because he was a part of the 761st Tank Battalion and with the World War II. It was one of the most decorated tank battalions during the war.
Mm.
Facts. Yeah.
And the thing is that uh, during his time in World War II, he is one of the people that help get the radicalized message that we need to stand up for ourselves here in America. And then next thing you know, he's playing baseball, and they get him to say this similar pound cake speech that alienates him from the rest of black society, and then the same thing happens over and over again. You know.
Mm. So let me ask this question, right? Because this is going like it's kind of segueing into something. And what I really think is, what they do to our quote unquote leaders or people that represent us, right? The best of the best in whatever those fields. What they're doing to us is what they'll do to each other. We see with the likes of whoever, right? And this is what I wanted to bring up really quickly, right? I'm gonna share the screen, um, bring this up here. Okay, so do anybody know right now that the federal judge that was I guess over the Jeffrey Epstein trial, her son and her husband were murdered.
Yeah, she was had
Murdered.
attempt
Yes.
assassination. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
she wasn't there, right? So
Her
suspect,
She was
husband
in the
was
basement.
injured. Yeah,
She was
yeah,
in the basement.
she was in the basement. So
Yes.
suspect in slaying a federal judge's son was an M7 MBA. He had 7 MBAs. So I'm just gonna say it, right? I'm gonna just go around the round table. I'm gonna just say it first, right? We'll start with CJ. We'll go to Cerulean, and but last but not least, our steam elder here. I think this dude that got him was a CIA plant, tying up loose ends. Like, because he said he was dressed like a delivery driver. Like he came there dressed like a FedEx in a FedEx delivery uniform.
So, all right. So I don't. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know how far so much going on. So Richmond news is kind of different, I guess, from
What's up?
a lot of places. There's a lot's been going on in Richmond. It's going to correlate to what you're saying. What I'm saying is going to
Okay, good.
correlate. So you remember they had the riots, which just calmed down like a couple of days ago. Remember I was down there, Dre, and I was showing you the pictures and whatnot or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, dog, you can't even go outside. Remember I used to be in my car, and I'm like, dog, you can't even come outside without your pistol. Like that's how we were just living like that. So what I'm saying is, when these riots were going on, they wasn't killing nobody. But they was knocking off police officers, sons, daughters at school, definitely some judges. You dig what I'm saying? And that's when things started changing, and that's when they started firing the police chief down here that was just racist as fuck. You know what I'm saying? They got rid of him the next week. So when it comes to that CIA shit, maybe yeah, because I think a lot of these missions that were going on underneath America, but this COVID and the economy being fucked up, they're not being funded. So a lot of shit got to be tied up, like some movie shit. But I think that movie shit is some real shit. So could have been a CIA agent, it could have been a dude from overseas, from whatever they're called. It could have been a legionnaire, but yeah, dog. Somebody got to be the scapegoat. Somebody got to be the scapegoat. The story, and there has to be a story. It don't have to be the truth. It just has to be a story that makes sense.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Our esteemed brother Cerulean.
I mean, it's plausible. You have to remember that when it comes to this movie shit, I mean, art is an imitation of life.
Exactly.
And so it's not far fetched, you know, having a background in like counterintelligence. You see intelligence guys walking around, you never know who they are. A lot of them do have you know, law degrees. They have backgrounds in econ. See, people think that you know, CIA agent, they think of you know, the Bond films. They think of, you know, these secret ops, you know, getting strapped up in like wet gear and fins coming out of the water with silencers on their weapons. No, a lot of them they dress in suits, you know, and a lot of them they just walk around plainly, you know, plain clothes.
Yeah.
You see a lot of them, you know. Hell, you see a lot of them in the. As a matter of fact, Yokosuka, Com7 Fleet. There's a lot of them on that base.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And they do have law degrees. They work in law. They work with the JAG. They work with NCIS. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and you talk about Epstein. It's not far fetched that they would want to eliminate the judge working on Epstein's case, because you got to remember Epstein was a wealthy man and he had no heirs and frozen assets. And what judge can unfreeze those assets but the one working on the case?
Yeah. Yep.
See, so you know, I mean, have you seen the terror threats they did to Ron Paul when they got him to drop his aspirations for presidency?
Oh yeah.
Black cars outside of his kids' schools. You know, he had kids in high school at the time, and so they're not beyond dealing with your family like that.
And let's not get like far fetched. It's not like they ain't used to be doing this anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, there was a couple of years ago, you had a federal judge found in the Hudson River. If you guys remember that story.
Oh yeah.
Mysteriously died.
Yeah.
You know.
That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. For everybody that's in the chat, if you want to check out this story, you know, I mean, we're not going to just, you know, read through it, but we're just going to bring it to you. We're just going to talk about it. But that's the news article. The link is in the you know, in the chat. So if you want to check it out, you know, bookmark it for later, go over it, comb over it, go right ahead. Our esteemed elder, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, here's the thing, folks. I'm sure all of us, we at one time we've seen the movie The Godfather. And the particular scene in The Godfather where Michael Corleone decides that all of his enemies need to be wiped out. Okay. So remember, in parts of the scene, you had different assassins dressed up as policemen, as postmen, as different, you know, just average things that you would not, you know, you wouldn't, if you were in a neighborhood, they wouldn't be out of the ordinary. FedEx driver, not out of the ordinary to see a FedEx driver. So it wouldn't cause any alarm, any suspicion, excuse me, when someone was to walk up to your door. I'm sure when this kid walked up to the door and he opened it and he saw someone standing in a FedEx uniform, his alarm bells did not go off. He was expecting a package. This was a cold and calculated, orchestrated hit, simply because Jeffrey Epstein, even though in his death, the secrets that he could have told as a man that was alive, it's cool. But in his death, there's no limit to what, who and what could be exposed about who and what and how they did his business. Listen. As great as this man was, as much money as he thought he had, he could have not done any of this by himself. He had enablers, he had helpers, and he had willing participants. These young girls were not trapped. They weren't brought over there. They didn't, excuse my language, they didn't fuck themselves.
Yeah.
So now you're thinking about this. Okay, we thought we eliminated the main character. Some of the information got out to this judge. Took somebody a while to figure out who this judge was. Followed their pattern. They assassinated him.
Well, not only that, you gotta read between the lines because, they refer to her as a feminist judge.
Exactly.
And that's a tactic that they like to use. Like basically, she was for like women's rights and protect the protections for former sex workers, and she was all for like special provisions against like women that have been sex trafficked against their will. So these are kind of the platforms that she's kind of judged on.
Exactly.
And the way that they polarize her, but saying, well, a feminist judge, well, we know whose language that is, right? That is CIA language. CIA crafted the modern feminist movement. As a matter of fact, the popular woman, Elizabeth Forsley Harris, she was the one that got the mass publicization of Miss Magazine, which was a feminist publication. What they didn't count on was that women actually taking their safety and their security seriously enough to where they could get political provisions. So the fact that you have this judge who's judged on the Epstein case, she's ran on the protection of women against sex trafficking and things of that nature. That why wouldn't they want to neutralize her?
Right. See, my question with that is, I think they're trying to, as they always say, they try and paint a narrative. Okay, let's think about the success, the success that this killer had. You mean at some point in time that if he hated women as bad as they say he did in this narrative that they're painting now, that would have been exposed to somebody? It's somewhere along the line. We're not talking about a guy who that taught at the local high school.
Yeah. And that's the crazy part about this is because I looked into
about a lawyer UC Berkeley.
Right. So you mean to tell me of all this time and all these tenures that he's had, all these women that he come in contact with today, just because he went and murdered someone, a female judge, let's paint the narrative that he hated women so much, he had a deep-seated hatred for women so much that finally it exploded because of this Jeffrey Epstein case. Stop that.
Oh no, I think it was likely the same way that America employs its foreign proxies, right?
Yeah.
Basically, this is what you're going to do, and after that's done, you're going to kill yourself. If not, then you're going to be the next exposed and attached to this Epstein thing.
Right.
And that would completely ruin him. I mean, you're talking about tenure at UC Berkeley. You're not even allowed within 1,000 feet of that school.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah. And here's another one.
You won't be able to teach anywhere in the United States.
Yeah. Now here's another one, right? Here's another one that I looked at because I looked at her last name, right? So she has like a Latino last name, right? She's a federal judge. She's a Latino sitting on the board. Now, if they came to her house and they injured her husband, they killed the son, right? But they didn't kill her. I think that was a message. Right? Because if they wanted to kill her, they could have got her at any point they wanted to get her.
Great. Let me interrupt. You're absolutely right. So you could, by the nature of that, it's either one or two things. Either this was a botched killing, which a real professional, no one in that house would have been left alive. We all know that, just from our Navy training and my Marine Corps training. If a real hitman would have went in there, they would have. No one would have lived in that house to tell that story.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. That is a message. This is what happens to anyone else that comes out and talk about this Jeffrey
this
Epstein
guy
case. Go ahead, Cerulean.
This guy has seven MBAs. Seven MBAs, a multi-millionaire, teaching at UC Berkeley with tenure. This guy is not in any practical sense a hitman.
Right. Come on.
Right. That's why he killed himself.
Right. It doesn't make sense, does it?
That's why he had to kill himself.
Right.
Because his life was going to be ruined anyway if he lived.
Right. If he lived, dead man tells no tales. So you do this, again, I hate to revert back to the movies, but again, in the Godfather, again, remember the scene where Tom Hagen visits the guy in the prison, and he basically tells him the only one way out of this. That's the only way to save face. Kill yourself, man.
Yeah. And because he shot, the son opened the door and he shot him through the heart, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's like, "Oh man, he shot him through the heart." Well, he's standing point blank range.
Anyway.
He just shot him in the chest. You know what I mean? He shot him in the chest. If that was a hitman, he'd have just shot him in the head. It'd have been over. You know what I mean? Like they don't, and it would have been, and it would have been a silencer or something there, and he'd have left. Yeah,
a double tap. Exactly what it been. One to the head, one to the chest. Absolutely.
Yep. Doop, doop, you know what I'm saying? Quickly, and he would have actually been let into the house, so the door would shut. So you know what I mean. So I'm pretty sure he was running through the house and it happened. Right? He'd have gathered everybody together and then took everybody out, like systematically. Get a lay of the house, see what's going on. He would already knew the entrance and the exit ways. So this guy did something. He had to fall on the sword, so he went out like that. You know what I mean? Like that's basically this is just my
he's likely been to Epstein's Island.
Yeah. So, and that was
he's likely one of those guys that had been to Epstein's Island.
Mm-hmm.
He's been to Epstein's Island, indulged in the sex trafficking that was going on there, and he probably had all of his college and tuition fees, all that long paid for, right? Had strings pulled to get him tenure at UC Berkeley, right? Settle his affairs. See, that's the other thing about the investigation that you haven't heard. But if he did settle his affairs, where did his money go to? That's probably why they didn't pay off a jury, because money can be traced.
Oh, let's see.
But if you have a face-to-face conversation and give them a specific mission, right?
Yep.
That can't be traced.
Yeah.
But money can. So you pay off a jury, all of that money is be traced somewhere.
Yeah. So before we move on,
you can't run the risk of that if you're trying to do something.
That is absolutely correct. Now, what I was going to ask is, before we move on to the next topic, CJ, you want to drop your sense into this rabbit hole diving?
Yeah, man. You know me, how far my mind goes, man. I don't get locked on to one idea, so it just travels, man. Because, like, man, at this point, I just don't know what to believe, because it's kind of like, this is my experience, and I heard Navy and Marine, but my experience is Army, and I done seen stories be built, and you can put out anything, bro. But I don't see something at that level going wrong like that and getting that public if it wasn't on purpose.
So we all in agreement.
I remember narrating in the book of that was written by Robert Murray, the Decline and Fall of American Empire.
Yeah.
And in the book, it talks about Praetorians and how they use their Praetorians to send very loud and public messages to keep other Praetorians in line. Right, and one of those ways they do it is by making a mountain out of a molehill with something petty. So that way, if they punish a Praetorian for something petty, the other Praetorians start seeing that, like, start walking on eggshells with trying to figure out where the line is.
Right.
So basically, what we're watching is a public execution, right? Like kind of like a mob hit, like like when was it Al Capone did that Valentine's Day massacre? You know what I'm saying, in Chicago?
Yeah. I just,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the best way to describe that, Dre, is that it was again, with all the noise and all that, it was meant to draw attention. Again, I keep saying this, a professional hitman, they would have never known they were there. Those bodies probably would have been found by a relative a couple of days when they reported them that he didn't show up for work, or they didn't show up for this, or they didn't show up for that.
Yeah. They would have had a note. They would have been ruled that the
And if
husband
it was a hitman,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cerulean.
if it was a hitman, there wouldn't even been any guns. A proper hitman is not even going to use a gun. Yeah, it's gonna be seen to look like an accident. Probably a car crash.
Y'all ever seen
entire family?
No, I'm sorry.
I have not seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. You gotta explain it to us.
Yeah. So the premise is, so say like the guy we're describing, so say like there's a sector in the government. Say there's a sector in the government, right?
Right.
That to cover all bases in what they're doing with their people and their bureau, they interfere in other people's lives. In the sense of, so say like if you go to work and you get to work, you get a package has like a random cell phone, and it's this guy on the other end that knows literally everything about you, and he says everything about you in 3 minutes. Anything from kindergarten, from when you scrape your knee, to how you broke your arm, and when you were 15, yada yada yada, right? And it says you have to do one thing. Once you do this one task, and if you do it cleanly, you can go back to your regular life. But if you get caught, we're just going to make it rough for you. Like, you are going to be the solution to your own demise. You know what I'm saying? So literally, they'll keep this cell phone and direct them. Hey, go to this store to buy this gun. Hey, go to this store to get these clothes. Before you do this, I need you to do certain movements so it looks like you were in this state of mind at this certain time before. And this is planned out like months before they get into the actual reason that they're doing this in the first place. So when it does occur, everybody has the story already.
Oh, okay. So you said like it's kind of like a quote unquote, like the person is a sleeper. Like they already been watching the person for years, so they are a sleeper candidate. So they have like a higher possibility of executing whatever they need to execute. Whether they fail or they succeed, it doesn't matter because the ultimate point was for them to do it in the first place.
And even when you're going through your schooling, they might be in that college. Like this is like some I don't know what it's called. I call it Sector 7 in my mind. But they'll even on your way in your career path. Hey, this guy's going to come through. Boom, boom, boom. Like it can happen for years. It just depends.
Just depends.
But keep in mind, if we know who the person is going to be 20, 30 years out, you don't think they ain't planning on knocking off this judge 2-3 years ago?
Hey, that you know what?
You don't think that FC all of a sudden is in the hot seat and he needs to be in the hot seat? Somebody got to go.
Listen, I'm trying to be real with you. Listen, after Hugh Hefner died, this is just me. You notice a lot of these Me Too when people dying and going to jail, and all of these political figures getting caught with their hands in the cookie jar and touching little boys and little girls, and they got this weird island that's been there for whatever. And this guy with 7 MBAs, that is business degrees. So he's moving money on and offshore, investing into stuff, stock market teetering, COVID happening. I mean, before the COVID thing happened. But to me, the keeper of all the secrets always comes down to the entertainment fact of these people that are above the moral code of the laws, because they're the ones that make the laws and move them how they see fit. It all comes from Hugh Hefner. Once he died, the holder of secrets was gone. It's like a power vacuum. Like everybody was rushing to be the holder of secrets. That's just me. You know what I mean? So this doesn't surprise me.
Remember the two doors, bro?
Oh yeah. You put me on to that.
You don't think they done groomed another Epstein?
Yeah. No, I think, you know who I think that is. I'm gonna just go out here. I think that's. No, I would say it's not Epstein, right? Because you got to have layers, right? You got to have the one that's in your face, and you got to have the one behind the scenes, right? So the new Epstein, I would say, would probably be the Clintons, right? They would be the Clintons, right? You know what I mean? Because then you got the government and Secret Service watching everything, right? Haha, right? Then, because he's an ex-president. So the other one, I would say the one that's in your face would surprise you. I think it's Jamie Foxx. Is going to be the new Hugh Hefner.
Yeah,
that's just me. I think we dived down the rabbit hole a little bit too long.
Yeah.
I think do we all agree that we need to come out the rabbit hole? Indeed. Right?
Yeah.
So I have another article to bring to the table, bring forth to the esteemed members of the panel here. This is just fresh off the presses. So this just came off the presses. I don't know how long this was up, but I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to bring this to the table. We have the Ohio Speaker. This is the Speaker of the House in Ohio. This is where I say your state legislation is very important. Ohio House Speaker. 4 others arrested in a $60 million bribery case. The Speaker householder was one of the driving forces behind roughly $1 billion financial rescue of Ohio's 2 nuclear plants. Legislation added a new fee to every electric bill in the state and directed over $150 million a year through 2026 to the plants. My God.
Oh, that's interesting.
My God.
In California too.
Was that the Enron?
There was
was that
They
Enron?
did it in California where no, it was one of the major energy companies. I can't think of the name.
I think it's PG.
I think I did the article.
PG.
PG&E.
Yeah, PG&E. That's actually in it. Yep, PG&E.
So it's P. Okay, so I know on the East Coast we got BG&E. Yeah, I know on the East Coast we got BG&E. So PG&E. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a similar scandal. So hold on, now this is the state, right? So, so I'm playing this here. I'm gonna just read this overview. House Advisor Jeffrey Longstreth, Street or whatever. Longtime state House lobbyist Neil Clark, former Ohio Republican Party Chairman Matthew Borges, and Juan. So you know he comes from Latino descent. Juan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Juan, right? Co-founder of the Columbus-based consulting firm. He's a co-founder. These were all the people that are arrested. I'm going to take this link and I'm going to place this link into the chat so you guys can read it for yourselves. But this is why I want to bring it to that next point, is that you know, the clandestine way of doing things is like this: $600 million in a bribery case for a company to charge you extra on your bill. Now, the reason why I bring this forth is that, yeah, they're going to do something to them, but all of you people that are residents of Ohio, y'all can actually get together and get your money back, or settlement, or deferment.
Class action suit.
Class action lawsuit. Class action lawsuit. And I'm pretty sure they was doing it more to black people than anybody else.
It'll be the people versus the state of Ohio. The people versus the state of Ohio. It can also be people versus whatever energy company stood to benefit from this.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because I've been talking about deprivatization for the better part of like 3 years now. And people think that, you know, when I talk about these things with policy, that it's all a joke. But deprivatization, critical industries, energy is a critical industry. If not, you're going to have corruption ensue unless it is deprivatized. Nuclear power plant. Nuclear power plant, it took state and federal money, i.e. public dollars, i.e. taxpayer dollars, to build it, and then they're going to charge you, you know, another fee on your bill to keep it running. Why do you think that should be deprivatized? Because you're getting public funds for a privately owned corporation.
Absolutely.
And then you got, you know, and it pisses me off when I hear Negroes talk about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. There's not a single company in existence that has pulled itself up by its bootstraps. Every single multi-billion-dollar or even trillion-dollar multinational corporation has been built by government. It doesn't matter what industry it was. It could be anything in transportation, whether it be Greyhound, whether it be Amtrak, whether it be GE. That's an energy. It's an energy company.
Can I pray tell?
Whether it be NSP, Northern States Power.
Can I ask you a question there, Cerulean? Yep. Isn't FedEx funded by the federal government to help out the post office?
Absolutely, it is.
It is. It absolutely is.
And then didn't Amazon start out getting government contracts?
It absolutely did. FedEx initially was given this huge government contract to subsidize the U.S. Postal Service's inability to ship larger packages and even domestic packages cheaper and overseas.
Absolutely, and in contrast, at that time, the only major carrier like that was what's the yellow folks? Is it Airborne or I'm not sure? No, DHL. That's
DHL.
Yeah. So remember, everything that you wanted to ship that was over 40, 50 pounds had to go through DHL. So they kind of had a monopoly. So the government, just as Cerulean said, subsidized FedEx and gave them this kickstart. So again, dead on point. That when they say pull yourself up by the bootstraps, that's just a bullshit talking point. It really is. Well, here's more evidence of it right here.
And you know, but when people say pull yourself up by your bootstraps, black people don't even got boots.
They got sandals.
Exactly, Callie Gator, the massive corporate welfare program.
Right.
Yeah.
It don't matter what you name a company, and I'll show you a welfare recipient like you have never seen. For instance, Apple, multi-billion-dollar contract.
With the government.
And the only reason why it got a multi-billion-dollar contract was to break up the monopoly that Microsoft had.
Yep.
An alternative to Microsoft's virtual monopoly on government computers.
Exactly.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, the Microsoft, they got the
Microsoft is
right? But remember, so check this out. So give y'all correlation here. Everybody on the panel knows this, and I'm gonna pass it off to CJ. Um, Steve Jobs was over there, IBM. IBM gets a government contract.
Corporate welfare.
He goes to Macintosh, builds his own company, corporate welfare. Then he goes to Microsoft, helps make the Windows programming with Bill Gates, right? They get corporate welfare. Then to break up the monopoly, Steve Jobs had to be put back in power on the board at Apple. Corporate welfare. So what comes into play? Steve Jobs' corporate welfare through 3 companies.
He's not double dipping. He's triple dipping.
When you see, oh yeah, that's because that's around the time when you see Apple starting to use Pentium and Intel processors. Because remember, for the longest time, they had their own proprietary chipset that was developed in house, and then as soon as they allowed the use of Pentium and Intel processors, Apple took off like a rocket.
Absolutely.
Yes, they did. And the thing is that what people don't realize, everything innovative, and I'm CJ jump in here, everything that's been innovated as far as inventions always starts in the government with military R&D.
Tactical to practical.
You know what I'm saying? When you was younger and you finally got to the point where you didn't have to be
Matter of fact, I talked about that. Yeah. I remember talking about this, where when you look at STEM professionals coming out of the colleges, why is there more STEM professionals coming out of the U.S. Army than there are coming out of colleges? Why do you think that is? Because the military gets a bigger budget than the school system.
Yes. That's why you can go to school for free in the military.
So CJ,
did you know we did the 2019 fiscal year budget? Army got $1.2 trillion just to start developing their own tech in-house because they noticed a back door from the Chinese made products. As a result, you had 250,000 new STEM jobs opening up across the military. Even the Marines incorporated a tech program.
What you mean?
And that's no. Go
ahead, laugh, man. Go ahead, laugh. He said, "Go ahead."
That's no slight to you, Supreme.
That's no slight to you.
But they did. They actually implemented a new MOS just for tech.
You're absolutely right. It was non-existent. You're absolutely right, Cerulean. Absolutely.
Well, listen. I'm gonna say like this, right? It's not the Marines' fault because the Marines are a part of the Department of the Army, like the Air Force is a part of the Department of
Navy. We're Department of the Navy. No, don't throw us completely under the bus. We'll take Department of the Navy, but Department of the Army.
The Marines Department of the Army, and then the Air Force's Department. I mean, goddamn it, the Department of the Navy, and the and then the Air Force is the Department of the Army until they separated. So we don't got an Air Force guy up here, thank God, right? But CJ, what are your thoughts on this? Hey, and CJ, I'm gonna just tell you, man, you just gotta jump in, bro. Like this is the session.
No,
we just sit around and
no, you're good. Nah, I didn't want to jump in because I got to go in a minute. But no.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, man. Say, jump in, say whatever you need to say, bro. And if you got to go, you got the floor. Give your final words. We're gonna keep it pushing it over here.
I don't know, man. I just want to. I definitely want to come back, but I just have so many questions. Not over the information's being posed, but like. Don't get me wrong, man. I believe we can all say we know about Agenda 21. We done read some of the Patriot Act. Yeah, I get it.
Right.
But the information is cool, but as everybody's talking away, it takes me so long to respond because I always try to think of what stage are we in now?
Well, let me answer that
But
real
on that
quick for
note,
you, man.
sorry, but on that note, I gotta go. But that's what I was putting together in my head.
Well, the stage that we are in right now is in a mass resource gathering in order to expand the black middle class,
Right.
and we developed a program for that. It's called the Great Faulkner Initiative to swell the black middle class, and it's so interesting because the opposition that it has received the most backlash from is black men who it's specifically designed for. All the while, when I'm looking at the changing of the times and the numbers, I'm looking at black women being half of the women in the military.
Mm.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Mm.
And they actually projecting this year black women will supersede and be the largest female group in the military. This year,
Mm.
2020. While black men, when we talk about the Great Faulkner Initiative and the military being one of the pillars of the Great Faulkner Initiative, we have the backlash from black men. Man, that ain't gonna never work. It's like, well, it's working quite fine for black women, isn't it?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
32 OCS graduates that were all black women last year. They made history. While we got black men here making complaints.
And that's a whole can of. But anyway, fellas, let me go. Let me finish my night. Man, y'all be easy.
You're
You heard.
hey man, hey, before you
Be
go,
safe,
bro.
man. Be safe, brother. Be safe.
Before you go, bro. Doesn't it feel
Yeah.
good not to be the smartest nigga in the room?
Finally, dog.
Yo, we'll meet up. We'll link up. Your.
Yeah.
Be cool, man. Be cool.
Yes. Hey, you saw that face, CJ? I mean, you saw that face. You saw the pain on his face. Finally, I just get to sit here and listen.
That's where we are at. We are at the resource gathering phase, and there is no time like the present. Like especially if you are black in America at this point in time in history, right? You are in the history making time for the next generation.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're watching history being made. You know, yesterday when I did the live yesterday, Gray Regime honors Shanika Smith and Keith Young of Asheville, North Carolina. That was history being made. Sure, some of the provisions that are offered in their reparations proposal are things that we're supposed to already have access to. But nonetheless, it's about setting precedent because now that you have the reparations in writing, in print, on the table, now we can watch the individual cities where there's large populations of black folk fall like dominoes, one by one. And we got to get these brothers and sisters into a point where, look, you're not just going to give us shit that we're already entitled to as Americans.
Yes.
Right.
Because this is not reparating.
And you're absolutely right, Cerulean. I mean, and thanks, but no thanks. We should have that already. Give us something new. And funny you should mention the different cities, because if you just pulling up to a little bit of modern news, all these cities right now that Trump has these policemen, undercover policemen going in to notice, they're black cities.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Cincinnati. I think they're even in your hometown. I'll tell you
this: if black men were half of the military or more,
they'd be in trouble. They'd be in trouble, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah.
Our women
it'd be big trouble.
Right. Listen, I'm not. I don't want anyone to. I'll prelude this. I don't want anyone to say that I'm caping for women right now. Wherever they say over on the other side of them streets, over there in them their spots. Excuse me.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
the mere fact to hear to say that then there in a little while, over half the women in the military will be black women. Those are now black warriors.
But you know what?
Our women are getting stronger than our men. Basically, is what this according to the military. Our women are getting stronger.
But you know what's basically going to happen, there, Elder, right?
Mm.
Is over time, whether people run to the Great Faulkner Initiative, they'll be forced to do it, right? Because the women are already doing it, and since them over there are led like it like you said with these superlatives, Supreme Elder, like our esteemed brother Jshine says, they're bitch led, right? They're going to run to the military because they're going to be chasing something. But the mothers of these men are going to push them in there. So what's going to happen is you're going to get this different subsection of warriors, right? If these women are going into the military and they meet up with these black men in the military, they're going to have kids. And what are they going to do? Their kids are going to get pushed into the military. You know, you know, so then you're going to get this warrior type mentality, right? So this is just anything else, right? America is coming, like the black people are turning into, you know, what I mean, is you know how they say things go into a cycle, right? You know, we black folk, we have a matriarchal type of dichotomy. That's what it is. You know, it can be functional, it can be dysfunctional, however way you want to spin it, but we've always been that way, right? As a culture and as a people, right? And this is just my 2 cents of it. Being everywhere, living in a patriarchy, living in a plutocracy, you know what I'm saying? Living in a, you know, seeing how a matriarchal thing happens and seeing this different things and living in these, everything has pros and cons. But if your people are already inclined to do something, it has to be their you go with your strengths and what they're naturally supposed to do. But this is I found this quote, right? You know, Elder, when we was talking about on your radio show, I think like last month or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. We were
Mm-hmm.
talking about how they were taking down the statues and things like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm all for it, but it's like after we get this legislation, the shit that we need first, right? And I ran across this on Facebook, and someone put this up because they were talking about, all right, with all that marching, they took down these statues. Ain't no policies been passed for shit, nothing, right? And they put this up, and I wanted to read this, and this is by our esteemed brethren, uh, Malcolm X, and he says, the white man will try to satisfy us with symbolic victories rather than economic equality and real justice. Right? And this is once again is what they're doing. After the liberating has happened, and liberating is still going on. They just not televising it, right? As much as they're supposed to. Like Portland, they, you know, the I guess the director of Homeland Security said he's going to send more troops, and he doesn't need an invitation. He could just go to put down the protesters down in Portland, Oregon, right? Portland, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know too many black folks from Portland other than people who play
No.
basketball over there for the team, but you know they going off, right? So they must got their own thing with probably the Southeast Asians, the Hmongs, and stuff like that, right? They got their own little
Well,
injustice.
it's not just that. Well, what it is that you're coming into 2020, and you know this is really the first time you have whites in mass, mostly from the lower middle class and working class, working poor, that are vocalizing. Right? They're vocalizing, and the way they're vocalizing it is with a gun in one hand and a Bible in the other. That's why they would send the Department of Homeland Security,
Mm-hmm.
because there's nothing more frightening, especially to an elite power structure, than a white man, because they know the history of this white man that has a gun in one hand and a Bible in the other.
Mm.
I mean, you have to remember the history of this country. It was a poor white man, a group of poor white men with a Bible in one hand and a gun in the other. You see, they don't want another revolution.
I would agree with you absolutely. They don't want another revolution, but unfortunately, that's what it has come to. And to speak on this Malcolm X piece here, I understand exactly what he's saying. What the symbolic is, yeah. Okay, thank you, fine. Um, we got some statues down. We replaced the Confederate flag. It's no longer at military bases. Okay, eventually, with enough public pressure, they will change the name of some of these Confederate lost military bases. They'll change the name of those eventually. That'll happen with time. But as far as the economic front of it, it just goes back to exactly on the last two skits that you presented, Dre. I mean, think about this. Okay, we're talking about getting an economic foothold when you have people already in power that are robbing you blind.
Yes.
So how is that possible? It's good. I mean, it's good to understand that. Yeah, we need to get a seat at the table, but when you get at the table, what are they going to feed you? Is everybody else having steak while you eating rice aroni?
Chicken feet.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So don't. It's a double-edged sword by the mere fact of it's okay. I got this seat at the table. Okay, well, you guys took down the statues. That should be enough. Well, no, that absolutely isn't enough. So now, the part of it is right now as to what can we do to avoid them to becoming on the same economic level with us by any means necessary. Just with this lawmaker here in Ohio that you just showed. Think about this, folks. As they said down in the chat room, I guarantee you that 90 or 80% of the folks' money that they were stealing were folks like us. You see the extra taxes on your bill. You see the down the street tax, a wire tax, this tax, that tax. After a while, when you first see it on your electric bill, you're like, okay, and you stop questioning it. So imagine 30 million Americans having the same tax to them week after week after week after week. So these guys are getting stronger and stronger because they're already at the table. Just because we got a seat at the table, some of us black folks got money.
Yes.
It's nice
Yeah.
to talk about what you're going to do, but bring your money at when you get to the table. That's what we need. It's the money. It's not the seat.
It's the money, right?
That's how they play the game. You want to talk to me? To bring the money.
What's good to being at? I don't want the table, right? What I want is the house that the table has to be in.
Exactly.
Because that's you make the rules. Like that's
Right.
I'm on some break out them owls, like the esteemed brother Cerulean says, clandestine stuff. What they're
Right.
basically telling you is that they have no code, no morality. Morality is a farce. It's pushed by those in power, and they can execute it as they deem fit. This is just my 2 cents. For us to get on board to do what we need to do, we have to force them, like esteemed Sister Neek says, and they don't care.
Right.
They don't care. So
Right.
why should we, by any means necessary? And that's why I wanted to have our esteemed Elder Malcolm up here. So don't be surprised. You know what I mean? I love y'all having this hope, but I'm petty. I don't got hope. You know what I'm saying? Like my job is to make sure you keep that hope by being
Right.
the man on the wall. And I would like to give for final thoughts to my esteemed elder and brother on the panel. Uh, and also what if you have any drops that's coming in on this at towards the end of the week, any promotions and things of that nature, so we can wrap this up because I can hear Quincy Jones of YouTube, Steve Lady Shar screaming at me, "You're about to go over time." But yeah.
Well, I would say thanks once again for the invite. It's been a real honor and a pleasure. Look out tomorrow. Our esteemed lady Shar and the Supreme Elder here, along with our esteemed lady Ruby, will be on GSRN, uh, Global Sensations Radio Network for Keep the Beat. And Thursday, what we got going on Thursday? We got anything going on Thursday?
Nothing.
I think we
Absolutely
have
nothing.
anything going on Thursday. That was great, which means you get a day off and to return on Friday. There's TGIF with Char on Friday, and then Saturday we have the morning chop with our esteemed brother and elder DJ Music. Oh, play the commercial.
Ladies and gentlemen, while Dre's doing that, I'll just say check Shar and myself out tomorrow. We will be live on GSRN radio with On the Beat for the first segment, and after that, two ladies, Classy Ruby and Shar Willie, will do their own segment called Keep the Beat over there. It's a lively conversation. They got some great music and some good topics, and they just talk about music and just in general things like that. So on the beat, of course, we're gonna talk about Kanye tomorrow. I got to do it. Damn it, man. But tend to it, folks. Anyway, right?
Okay. So we're gonna play it here. Now I'm gonna play it twice because I don't know because I got my headphones in, so I don't know if everybody can hear it. But I'm gonna play it right here. Can everybody see that? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna solo it. I'm gonna go ahead and do that right there, and I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Okay, let me take this off here, and let me go ahead and play it, and let me know if you guys can hear it.
This is Charlotte from the JustaskChar Vice Channel. Join me at Class 3 for a new radio segment called Keep the Beat. We broadcast every Wednesday night at 9:30
It's a little low, Dre.
It's a little low. Okay.
GSRN.
Yeah, it's low.
As a speaker. Right. Hi, this is Char Wilkie from the JustaskChar Advice Channel. Join me at Class 3 for a new radio segment called Keep the Beat. Broadcast every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from GSRN-radio.net. Just press the icon that is a speaker, play radio. If you missed the live broadcast, you'll be able to listen to the replays on Mixcloud. Just follow me at JustaskChar Advice Channel on Mixcloud, and you will receive an email once the broadcast is uploaded. We look forward to seeing you soon. And until then, enjoy this show. Peace.
All right. All right, that was done. You know, that is perfectly done. I love looking at that, and we believe in excellence here. Um, so we went overtime just about 4, almost 5 minutes. Um, I'm not going to say anything crazy and off the wall, but no one's going to beg you to be great. Salute to the nation, Ebon Oblis. Salute to the black nobility. Y'all have a great night. Please like, share, comment the stream. Stop off at GSRN tomorrow night. Also, Char Willie will be having and Ruby will be having Just Ask Char on Friday. And I don't know about Saturday if they're going to do their article reactions, but they probably will do those also. And then we have on Monday, on Saturday we have the esteemed elder. He's going to do his show on YouTube. You usually do your panel on YouTube on Saturday. Is that right? Is that not right, Supreme Elder?
I'm sorry, I was reading something at the same time. Yeah, I still do it on Saturdays. I just been behind on a couple. Got a little busy out, so yes, I will be on it nude on Saturday as well.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
And so Supreme Elder will be there Saturday. Also, Char said Saturday is on for the article reactions. It was her birthday this past weekend. So if you didn't wish her a happy birthday, we had a marathon stream thing going. Please wish her a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Um, they keep the beat segment. All right. So that is up there. I'm gonna let y'all look at it, see what it is. Char dropped the links. She already dropped the links in the chat, so you can't say that you didn't know because we told you over and over again. You know, repetitiveness. You don't know. Also, the Supreme Elder has his. You have your on GSRN on Sunday. You have your.
Yeah. Yeah, the Sunday backyard barbecue, folks, to mix it up a little bit. Well, music for everybody. Don't not only do just old school music, and mix it up a little bit. I think you'll have a good time. Starts at 8 o'clock on GSRN radio. So come check it out, folks.
And it's not talk radio. He's just playing them jams, right? He ain't tearing up your ACL. He's just going in.
Right.
So please check it out. And of course, we have the esteemed brother Cerulean Grey regime. You know what I'm saying? Cerulean Grey does his broadcast on YouTube. And right after that, we head over and we do movie night. So what movie are we doing for this coming Monday there, Cerulean?
There was an interesting film on Real Black's channel.
Right.
It's a throwback from 1988 with Jawanze Kumjufu, Huey P. Newton, and Ishmael Reed. And so we're probably gonna be watching that. If not that, we may have to bring out A Soldier Story.
Yeah.
Have to bring that out of the locker.
Yeah. That Walking Dead was good last Monday. The replays will be on Twitch, but go over to grayregime.tv. You know what I'm saying? Please check that out also. So we got a lot of things popping around here. If you really think about it, Thursday is pretty much our only day off. Thursday is pretty much the only day off. There's a lot of content being pushed. There's different personalities, and we like to thank you once again for coming through. Salute to the nation.
Salute to the nation.